This video lecture is for study session 7. The topic of this study session is community mobilization and community participation. Community mobilization is a method of making people become actively involved in solving their healthcare problem. It is not a one-time activity, but rather a continuous one that is expected to outlive any health worker. In addition, it requires patience on the part of the health workers, and if intensively and properly done, one can begin to see the results of community mobilization efforts within a short period of time. This study session will therefore focus on the principle of community mobilization, community participation and involvement, and steps in community mobilization. On completion of this lecture video, you should be able to discuss the concept of community mobilization, highlight the principles of community mobilization and steps in community mobilization. You should be able to enumerate the composition and function of a committee that enhance community mobilization, and you should be able to describe community participation and involvement. What is community mobilization? Community mobilization is a means of encouraging, inspiring, and raising the interest of the community to make them actively involved in finding solutions to some of their own problems. It is a continuous process requiring participation by all health workers and communities, including the community leaders. It helps to generate active community participation and involvement, leading to self-reliance and initiative, and also to obtain support of different interest groups and non-governmental organizations. The rationale behind community mobilization is because there is need for community to be informed, educated, motivated, and involved formally or informally in health programs so that they can be convinced that the program is convenient and affordable. Some of the advantages of community mobilization is that there is increased interest in working together as a team. It reaches the community, whether homogeneous or heterogeneous community, at the same time. The community is actively involved in the health activities. It enhances self-reliance, and lastly, there is an increased level of health awareness. Based on our own individual skill sets and life experiences, we usually enter into a campaign having known the benefit which it is going to bring onto us. So some of the benefits of community mobilization in primary health care to the community is that it provides the community the opportunity to identify their own problem, it helps them to plan on a solution, and it helps them to use their own resources to solve the problem, and lastly, it fosters prompt attention to the problem. Principle of community mobilization. The principles are not different from that of health education. The basic principles are the community must have interest or they must be motivated. The second one is respect for culture and tradition. This is quite essential in community mobilization process. It will enable the community to listen because there is a respect for their culture and there is a value for their culture. The third one is reliability of the source of information. Messages presented must be based on fact and must be from reliable source. The fourth one is acceptability and adaptability of the health information and activity. The community must understand and accept the activity. The fifth one is active participation. The community must be actively involved and participate in the program effectively. Now, steps involved in community mobilization are: identify the head of the community and must find out who the local leaders are. Make the initial contact with the leaders and communicate your intention. Acquaint yourself with the cultural and social protocol of the community. Then you arrange a meeting with the community head and community representative. After that, you develop an agenda for a meeting with other health workers. Then you make sure that you attend the meeting. Then you explain the purpose of the meeting in an acceptable language. The next step is to request them to convey the message to other community members and bring feedback during subsequent meeting. Then you encourage question and participation from audience to clarify all issues before meeting disperses, including action to be taken before the next meeting. Then the next step is to decide with the participant the time, date and venue for the next meeting. Then another step is to have as many meetings as necessary until a consensus is reached and until the information that you want is being passed. Then the last step is to follow up on the meeting that you have done. This follow-up visit should be made to meet different district or village heads to obtain a formal reaction from the community, to explain points that were unclear to the community at previous meeting, and to clarify all questions. Composition and function of committee that can enhance community mobilization. The first one is local government area primary health care. The management committee consists of a supervisory council for health, local government coordinator of health who act as the secretary, teaching hospital primary health care coordinator, and then the school of health technology primary health care coordinator, chief community health officer for local government area, chief community development officer for local government area, at least 3 representatives of the community, which must include a woman at least. Then representative of an international non-governmental organization which has primary health care program in their area. Then representative of a mass media. Then the function of the committee is to plan and manage primary health care service, to identify training needs of health workers at each local government area, and to take care of primary health care budget and finances at local government level. Another committee is district health committee. This consists of a district head, then at least 4 representatives of village organization, 2 representatives of non-governmental organizations that are health related, 3 representatives of health-related sector, for example, a directorate of foods, roads, rural infrastructure, and agricultural district health team. Their function is to organize fundraising activity, to liaise with government and other voluntary agencies in the district to solve health and social problems, to coordinate and supervise the activity of the village health committee. Now, the third type of committee is village health committee. It involves all those who are very influential in the community and reside in the community. It also consists of those representing interested oral agencies in the community, and then representative of women organization, religious organization, and youth organization. And their major function is to identify health and social needs of the community, to identify local human and material resources to meet these essential needs, and to mobilize and stimulate active participation of other members of the community in the planning and implementation of any project. Community participation and involvement. This is one of the strategies of primary health care. The community is involved right from the planning stage of a program to implementation and even evaluation stage. Thus, decision-making process is revolved around the community. Some of the advantages of community participation and involvement in healthcare activities is that it allows community to exert effective administrative supervision over health service. It makes use of part-time unremunerated community or village health workers. It promotes local insurance. It promotes local insurance scheme for purchasing pharmaceutical products. It provides a communal labor for the construction of healthcare facility, for example, toilets, water supply, and cleaning of the community. We have come to the end of this study. You can consult your study material to have more understanding of the subject discussed in this video lecture. Thank you for listening.